1999 is the peak of civilization. Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is Daniel.
Woo! Three of us again. And this is the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
No, this is the Grumpy Old Dads podcast.
Oh, that was last episode. This is this episode. This is the Dead Tired Dads again. We're Dead Tired Dads, and this is the podcast for gamers who don't have time to game and who also like to yell at kids to get off their lawn. Because we do all of those things. Sometimes. Anyway. Welcome to now. It is now the month of August. Now it's August. Because I was confused in our last episode.
It's school time, and you know what that means. You now have less time to game.
That's
because
right.
your kids are doing activities, and you're running them back and forth.
Yeah. No. I don't know. Yeah, probably true.
It's okay, though. We're going to do you a solid. Help cut through some of the clutter and figure out, with the little time you have, what's worth picking up.
For sure. Before we get into that, though, I've got a story to tell.
Here we go.
As usual.
Story time.
So, a few weeks ago, before school was getting underway, took my kiddos to get some ice cream at a local parlor here in town, and so I had just gotten a new tattoo at the time, and it was all lubed up with some Aquaphor, so it was nice and shiny and sticky. So I'm at an ice cream shop in the middle of summer, and so that means that there are ants.
Yep.
Ants.
Lots of them.
Everywhere. And I mean everywhere. So as I'm eating my ice cream, like, I notice, like, one has landed on my new tattoo, which is on my arm, and is, like, stuck in the Aquaphor. And, like, there's, like, other ones that are, like, kind of swarming around me, and I'm trying to decide whether if I should, swat at them and get more of them in my tattoo, or if I should, like, it was just bad. And so, like, once we finished the ice cream, so I managed to get the one on my arm off. But we finished our ice cream, and, like, I still feel like they're, like, crawling on my arm. Like, I feel really uncomfortable because, like, if you've never gotten a tattoo, if you don't know this, you can't, like, when it's new, you can't scratch. Like, you cannot scratch your tattoo, but it itches really, really bad. And so feeling like you have something crawling on you while you have a new tattoo, while it's itching, is a really, really uncomfortable feeling. And so, like, I get in the car, and not only were they swarming outside of, like in the ice, but, like, I get in the car, and my car is covered, like, on the outside. Like, I'm looking at the window, and it's just got ants all over the outside of my car. They are literally everywhere, and it just gives, like, I have this, like, more and more feeling that they're just crawling all over me. It's very, very uncomfortable. But yeah, so don't get a new tattoo and go to an ice cream shop in the middle of summer, because you will get ants on you, and it will make you really nervous.
But was the ice cream good?
Meh.
Oh.
I made a mistake in my order.
Oh, that's even worse, man.
Yeah, no, it was. So first off, I got what I thought. I got a cone, and I thought it was 2 scoops. And I think she ended up giving me 3, which I'm not sure if I should be grateful for, or if it was like that she made the mistake, or if that was actually what I ordered and I should have gotten a smaller size. So yeah. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea like what I ordered. Like I said, I thought it was 2, and I'm pretty sure I saw her put in 3, but I don't know for fact. But what I got was way too, like, it was too much ice cream to begin with.
Well, I mean, if that's a thing, let's just
It's a thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Guys. No,
Ryan
it's not.
says there's no such thing as too much ice cream.
Nope.
I disagree.
I've had some ice cream flavors I could confirm that there is too much of.
And that was the thing. I got a salted caramel ice cream, which
Love it.
I'm a big fan of
I feel
caramel.
like that's a safe bet.
And
Yeah.
caramel's great, but like it was so sweet. It was way too sweet.
Oh,
And
I mean, that's not why you ordered salted caramel. You were expecting a little bit of salt, a little bit of sweet.
it was too sweet.
Oh,
Like it
yeah,
was
that's
like,
bummer.
and it was too like. So if I had only had the 2 scoops, it would have been fine. But with the size that I ended up getting, it was like I wanted to stop eating it, but I was like, this thing was really expensive.
paid for this.
I paid a lot of money for this. And now I've got ants on my arm ruining my tattoo, or trying to ruin my tattoo. And I have to finish this ice cream so I can leave right now. And so I was like trying to hurry up and eat it. And my daughter was with me, and I was like, you have to hurry up and eat. Eat faster.
Eat your ice cream now.
Hurry up. Get a brain freeze. I don't care.
Which, as we all know, that's exactly how kids like to eat ice cream, is under pressure and in a hurry.
Under pressure.
No, quiet. We can't start singing songs. We'll get a copyright strike. Especially not that song.
Oh,
Jeez.
the irony. I'm just on a court case kick now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last episode. Can't stop, won't stop. All right.
So, but yeah, that's ice cream, man. Ants and ice cream. They go together like, I don't know, spiders and basements.
I get made fun of in my house because I am of the opinion that there's no bad time to eat ice cream. It could be like January 5th, negative 20 degrees outside. Let's get some ice cream. There's no bad time.
So are you thinking like, let's get some ice cream like from the store and bring it home and we'll eat it in front of the fireplace? Or like, hey, we're going to go to this outdoor like ice cream
Sporting
shop.
event.
Whatever I have to do to get ice cream.
Okay.
Whatever it takes to convince everyone around me to go get ice cream, I'll do.
You know, I would love to throw stones right now, but I do the same thing with hot coffee.
There you go.
Be 100 degrees outside. I'm still out there sipping on a hot Americano, getting weird looks from everyone.
No, but coffee's different than ice cream.
Is it though?
Yes.
I feel like we still got the same temperature thing going on here.
No. Heat is different than cold.
So you go home, down south, muggy hot, 100 degrees, and you can feel the moisture in the air.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, give me a piping hot cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
All right, then you can't make fun of me and my ice cream when it's cold.
I mean, I think that's valid.
I don't. I disagree. No.
To be clear, I would also take the cup of coffee that I just described to you. Bring it on.
But I'm not uncomfortable. I'm not as uncomfortable when I'm hot as when I am cold.
Well, that's true. I'm from the north, and
so
bring on the ice cream all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't come up with the word that I'm looking for, but I dissent. That's the word. I dissent. I dissent.
He's gonna write the dissenting opinion.
That's
because you know what? I can't wait for summer to be over so I can eat ice cream in the cold.
I dissent.
We'll get off his lawn eventually.
Eventually. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So anyway, no, like because when it's cold, you're miserable. When it's hot, you can at least go inside and have a cup of coffee. I can be outside and then have a cup of coffee and I'll be okay even if it's hot because then I'm getting caffeine.
Why don't you take the two ideas and put them together and get coffee flavored ice cream?
Because then it's cold ice cream and it's cold outside.
Put the ice cream in your coffee.
Now, if you want to do like snow, like if you want to make snow cream, like that's something.
That's fun too. I like that kind of ice cream.
Bring it on.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a very famous chicken place that likes to put ice cream in their coffees.
There's a local coffee shop here that has like a thing that like has a coffee thing with ice cream in it.
I love ice cream in my coffee. Great.
I've never heard of such thing until recently.
Do you put cream in your coffee?
Yes.
Josh, we're splitting hairs now.
Ice cream is different than just cream.
Barely.
No, it's not.
Barely.
I mean, cream's in the name. You got
Barely.
an uphill battle here.
You sit here and tell me how they're different.
Because one is frozen and one is a liquid. And you have to
Like I said, they're barely different. Tell me one more difference.
Have you ever made ice cream?
Yes.
No, I'm too busy eating the ice cream to make ice cream.
Hey, you have to have, like, lots of sugar. There's not lots of sugar in creamer. It's milk.
I'm going to go look at the labels. There's absolutely a lot of sugar in creamer. There's absolutely a lot of sugar in creamer.
I mean, you have to have a thickening agent, so, like, you have to have some... Yeah, you have to have some salt. Anyway.
Barely. I'm going with barely different, guys.
It does bring up an interesting point. I mean, I need to get an ice cream maker now and try to make, like, French vanilla ice cream with, like, some coffee mate.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see how that turns out. Like, I'm curious.
I will help you. I will come over and help you. I'll be your taste tester.
This would be such a great way to launch our streaming careers. Mercy. Okay.
That sounds like a great idea to me.
What is happening?
You know, I actually don't have a story this week. I did enjoy watching Josh chase spiders in his basement.
Oh, man, yes.
Josh did not enjoy this activity.
I did not. No.
I did.
There are many, many tiny spiders in my basement, and I do not like it. And I hate them. I wish they would all go away and die. So anyway, I guess we've digressed.
So bad, but it was awesome.
Can we continue this podcast at this point?
You know what? I just realized something. A lot of our side tangents have to do with food.
All of our side tangents have to do with food, Ryan. Unless we're talking about the future of gaming and how it sucks.
85% of our side tangents have to do with food.
Oh.
It seems like we could start a second podcast, like Dead Tired Dads Review Food.
I think we just need a food blog. Like, it's huge. I'm telling you.
It's huge. It's gonna be huge.
Oh my goodness. We will not digress into politics.
Did we do video games here?
Maybe. I don't know.
Hard to tell.
Josh.
Hard to tell.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a what have you been playing recently?
Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll just dive into this. So, we've talked about this recently about how I have gotten kind of into a bit of a retro kick because of my new entertainment center upstairs that I got for my main living area, which I'm super excited about. It's very cool.
It looks very nice.
And I'm able to set up way more consoles in it than I could previously. So like I mentioned on our last episode, our news episode, I had managed to break out the Wii U and have that hooked up.
Nice.
I've got a GameCube hooked up there.
Classic.
I've got my PS4, my Xbox Series S, and my Switch. So I basically, between those 5 consoles, I have access to pretty much the last 30 years of gaming.
Several games.
Other than PlayStation games, because the PS4, unfortunately, is like not backwards compatible at all.
Nope. Not even a little bit.
And I'm not willing to set up my PS2 because I'm kind of out of space. But with all of that, like I have so much access to so many old consoles. So I was playing Rock Band a little bit and different rhythm games like that. But the game that I want to talk about is going to launch because I have had such a plethora, or now have such a plethora of kind of backwards compatibility and can kind of go back. I'm gonna start. I think I'm gonna start doing my segments as kind of games you might have missed.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of thing. So
I like it.
So I have been playing a game from the Wii series era of Nintendo games. I bought at our local game exchange. I managed to find a copy of Metroid Other M. Which was a game that when it came out, it was right after all of the Prime games came out. So Metroid at that point had been kind of a first-person shooter view, and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption had come out on the Wii, and it was a first-person shooter, and they utilized the Wii remotes and did a lot of really cool things with Metroid Prime 3. But so after they finished the Prime series, or what they said was the finish of the Prime series, they went back to more of the 2D style that everyone had kind of been used to with Other M. Now, Other M is 2D in the sense that it's kind of a side scroller, but it's also, so you hold the Wii remote sideways, you don't point it at the, well, we'll get into that. It's not primarily pointing the Wii remote at the screen and using like the nunchuck, if you recall, the joystick. So you've got a directional pad, so you've got 4 directions, and you've got 2 buttons, basically like an NES controller. And you also have an A button and a B button, so there's a couple of extra buttons. Anyway, beside the point. So they went back more to a side scroller from a first-person shooter view. It doesn't handle well. The biggest frustration with this game that I had was the controls. I
really
could not stand it. It was so hard to manage because they did it in a 2D kind of side scroller type thing, but it was a 3D environment. So you're running sideways, but you'll come to the end of the hall, and then you have to run up. So you push the up button to go up. But like you have to be like, you can't just move like up all the, well, I mean you can, but the controls are really, really awkward.
Yeah.
It's really awkward controlling to control. But the story is interesting enough. So the story actually leads into Dread a little bit. So it gives you a little bit of background. Like if you haven't played Other M, you're actually missing a little bit of the background for Metroid Dread, which we've discussed extensively on this show and how great a game it is.
That was a great game.
So like, and it's the first Metroid that really has a lot of they actually did like a lot of cinematic. There's voice acting. There's a lot of like video that goes into it. So it's very like, it's dated. The Wii is not a super powerful, great graphics machine compared to what we have now, but it's good. It's good video. It's a good story. I was compelled by it. I wanted to keep playing to find out kind of what happened.
Well, that's a good sign.
But the controls are really prohibitive. Another thing that kind of bothers me about it is that so like I said, primarily you're playing with the Wii remote sideways. But in order to fire a missile, which is a pretty important feature in most Metroid games, you have to be able to fire missiles.
Usually pretty important.
You actually do point the Wii remote at the screen, and it takes you from there. It puts you into a first-person view, and you can shoot missiles aiming with the Wii remote.
Huh. What could go wrong?
The problem with this is if you are pointing the Wii remote at the screen, trying to fire a missile, you cannot move.
You can't move, yeah. That was the first question I had.
You can aim, but you can't move your character. So if you're being attacked, you can't move and dodge the attack, which is incredibly frustrating. And there are other features like that in the game where you're pointing, trying to fire the missiles, and it just is really, really hard to like get to a point where you're not taking damage while you're shooting your missile. It just becomes aggravating.
Yeah.
And we've talked about how like in Dread is an incredibly difficult game. It's a very hard game, but it makes sense that it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, this is difficult in the sense that it's like the gameplay itself, like the controls themselves make the gameplay hard.
Yeah.
Not the gameplay is
design
hard.
flaw.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing that kind of annoyed me, and again, I didn't hate the game. I don't want it to come off as I hated this game, it's awful. I'm just annoyed by it. So in most Metroid games, you start off with a bunch of abilities, you can do all this cool stuff, or not most, and in more recent ones, you have all of Samus's abilities you have, and then something happens and you lose all of the abilities and you have to go around and recollect them, basically. Yeah. You have to find them again and then find new abilities that kind of add to your arsenal. What they came up with in this one was a little bit unconventional. So rather than losing your abilities, you just decide not to use them.
Huh.
Until you get to a certain point.
Because reasons.
Pretty much. So what basically happens is Samus meets up with the Galactic Federation, which is a governmental organization of some sort, that she apparently used to be a part of. That's the storyline. She was in the Galactic Federation army, and then she kind of jumped out or failed out or whatever. She got out of it to become a bounty hunter. And she's a great bounty hunter. But she meets up with this crew of Galactic Federation soldiers, and it just so happens that they're a crew of Galactic Federation soldiers that she knows, that she went through, and one of the guys' his name is Adam, and he's the commander. And it kind of gives you some of the backstory on their relationship and how that works. But Adam basically says, hey, if you're going to help us on this mission, you can't use any weapons that I don't authorize.
Because we don't want your really powerful weapons to help us with our mission.
Exactly.
Because reasons.
Honestly, that's... I almost buy that premise,
Well, I don't have a problem with the premise as much as I have a problem with I've died 30 times because this is really, really freaking hard, and I have all of these weapons that I have, but I'm just not using.
Not allowed to use.
I'm not allowed to use this, but it's going to kill me. Like, at some point you would go, hey, if you're having a hard time, use that, really powerful weapon that you have. I don't know. That's just me. That's just what I like. I think that's problematic. But it got kind of going along with that. It felt like it was really, really difficult to start unlocking weapons, and then once you did, you were overpowered for everything. Like nothing, like it didn't matter anymore, and there was a lot of game left.
So it didn't have that typical Metroid progression where
Right.
it's like you felt yourself gradually getting...
Right. I kept feeling like I would beat bosses, I would do things, so I was like, okay, this is going to give me the new weapon. I'm going to get the new weapon here.
Nope.
And then I didn't get a new weapon. I was like, why am I not getting a new weapon? All of these things are killing me constantly. I'm like so frustrated with it. Eventually I did kind of get to a point where I kind of got into the flow of it. It was a bit of a stretch. I do not like the controls. I do not like the way that they did the first person shooter thing with the pointing at the screen. There's also these segments where you have to they're like detective segments where again you're pointing at the screen looking for something, but you can't really move around.
Yeah.
Like you can't walk around looking for it. You're stuck, aiming. You can look, you can turn directions, but you can't like walk forward or anything. And you literally cannot get out of the screen until you find the one thing that you're looking for. And there's
You have to just keep looking.
Right. And there's no indication, like there's no like hints of that, like what it is exactly you're looking for. It just takes you out of the game and like puts you onto the screen. It's like, find the thing. And I'm like, okay.
All right.
And like you could sit there for 5 minutes like moving the cursor all around and not find the thing. It's incredibly annoying. So all in all, it's a Metroid game that gives you some solid backstory to some of the better Metroid games that have come out over the last several years. But this game did get pretty, like, it was panned when it originally came out. Like, people did not like it, and I totally understand why.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not mad that I played it. I don't hate the game. Especially coming off of like the Metroid Prime trilogy, Like, to go from that to this, it really felt like a step backwards. Like a really big step backwards.
Yep.
But all in all, my kids enjoyed it. You know, my daughter was asking me to play it. She really likes Metroid games, which I'm fine with.
Well, that's good.
And you know, it's a Metroid game. So that being the case, you can beat it within. You know, I think I beat it in under 15 hours.
Oh. Wow.
Like, because Metroid games are meant to be played through and played through as quick as you can. So first time playing through, I think it was it might have been over 15 hours. I don't know. The other one other interesting point, you beat the game, like you beat the story, the game is over, and then you get like another mission along with the game. So there's that too. Huh. So it takes you back into where you are, and you have to play through it again. So not play through the game, but you go do something again that you couldn't do until you got the final weapon. But anyway,
interesting.
It's an interesting game. It was an interesting. It was a bit of a risky game the way that they did it. I think. Yeah. Again, coming off of the Metroid Prime trilogy. But it fell a little flat for me. Good. I mean, like I said, good story, interesting story. Just not. The controls really, really hamper it. Could have been better.
There you go.
So that's Metroid Other M, and
Other M.
So it could be worth picking up if you like Metroid games. Could be worth picking up just to have and to play. I missed it when it first came out because at that point in time it was just too much money and I wasn't playing enough video games. So when I could pick it up for $15 or whatever it was that I bought it for, I was like, yeah, I'll get that.
I will do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, Metroid Other M.
There you go. Meh. A glowing review. Meh.
Yeah. I wish it was better. I really do wish it was better. Because it is an interesting enough story.
Yeah.
So, who's next? Who's got something to talk about? Ryan, we haven't heard from you in a month and a half. So.
All right. I'll go. So, I'm actually going to do my review a little different this time.
Okay, different reviews.
We're listening.
We're all about different reviews this time.
I've been playing a lot of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
But none of them yet that I can really do a solid review on. So, NCAA football, I'm not going to do a review because it is what it is. You know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Play it or don't. It's football, Josh. There you go. I reviewed it. It's football. While I was traveling, I started playing on the Switch Fire Emblem Engage. Yes, Fire Emblem Engage. I'm about halfway through it, so I could probably review, but I'm not gonna.
Not gonna.
Because while I was gone, I came home and I had a message in my... When I got home, I turned on my Xbox and I had a message from a friend. And it was a message from Xbox, but the message said... it had the gamer tag of my friend, and it said, so-and-so has sent you a gift.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay, let me go look.
Exciting.
And, I didn't know quite what to expect, but I just thought, it'd be something simple or, I didn't know what to expect. So I went and clicked on it, and my friend had sent me Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh.
That's a good friend.
So, yeah. So that was awesome.
Very nice.
So I was like halfway through Fire Emblem, and if you listen to this show at all, you know that Larian Studios made Baldur's Gate 3. They also made Divinity 2, which I have heaped praise on.
Yes.
So I've been waiting to play this game, so I just dropped Fire Emblem Engage like a bad habit. It's like really bad of me that I did that.
No Fire Emblem Engage.
No.
Bad Fire Emblem.
I'm playing Baldur's Gate.
Good Baldur's Gate. Good boy.
So,
needle pulling thread.
I'm not far enough into Baldur's Gate to review that either.
Oh.
But I have been wanting to do something interesting on this show for a while. My oldest son has been playing Detective Pikachu on the Switch.
All right.
And the original plan was I wanted to... he actually worked up the courage. He wanted to come with me and give his own review.
Oh, man.
And that was my original plan, but he was up way too late last night.
Oh, man.
And it was going to be like 2 late nights in a row. So I was like,
that would have been adorable.
You give me the review and I'll share it.
Okay.
So I sat down with him and quote unquote interviewed him to find out about Detective Pikachu.
Nice.
So that's what I'm going to share. So he's been playing that. We got that also from our local library. We checked it out on the Switch.
Thank you, local library, for being so great.
They're so awesome. So he's been playing that on the Switch, and the gist of this game is the main character's name is Tim, and Tim's dad has gone missing. And
I'm sorry, all I can think of is Monty Python. There are some who call me Tim, maybe. Sorry, that was just the first thing that came into my head. Thank you, John Cleese, for such a wonderful performance.
Good times.
Hero among men.
So, not Monty Python, but Tim.
Sorry, Tim,
the main character in Detective Pikachu. His dad has gone missing, and the story goes that the Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, actually belonged to Tim's dad. So now, Tim and Pikachu are the whole case. The overarching case is they're looking for Tim's dad. And as you progress through the story, there's other smaller cases that they solve along the way. So the sort of the bad guys of the game actually frame Pikachu for some of the crimes that he's trying to solve. So it's like this, crime-solving mystery game. And my son is really enjoying it. It's got a lot of puzzle element to it, which he really likes, and Josh is
I am a big fan of
puzzle games. So one of the things I asked him, I wanted to know, do you feel it's too hard? How have you done with it? Because my son's 9. He'll be 10 in a couple months. And he has only had to ask me for help once.
Oh, nice.
It was just a it was like a timing thing where he had to get through a puzzle in a certain amount of time. And he just doesn't have the coordination yet to do it quickly.
Right.
So he knew what he needed to do, he just couldn't do it fast enough. But otherwise he's not had to ask for help at all. He's really enjoying it. And what I am noticing is he will find the clues that he needs to find, and he will start putting the case together. He'll start solving things, which I think is really cool because I'm seeing him use critical thinking skills to put these pieces of evidence together and solve the case.
Right.
So that to me is really cool. It's it's making him think through it. Some other things I asked him about, just because, it's Pikachu, Pokemon. So I asked him, do you get to interact with other Pokemon, or how does that work? And he said, yeah, there's some, sometimes you will ask other Pokemon to help you in parts of the game. At one point, he had to, sneak into a police station because, I can't remember exactly how it went, Pikachu had been arrested and framed, and so he had to use other Pokemon to sneak in and get him out. And so I figured fans of that series would want to know, are there other Pokemon in the game? And there are. Obviously, it meets all of our usual criteria. No violence, because it's Pokemon, so you're not going to run into any of that. But yeah, he's really enjoying it, and I like that it's different than what he usually plays.
Yeah.
So it's kind of taking him outside of his normal little genre of Pokemon and Minecraft, because otherwise that's about all he will play, as a lot of kids his age do, you know.
And that's a, that kind of feeds into the conversations that we've had before of how games can be useful for, like, as teaching tools. Like, the idea that, like, this is something with characters that that does encourage, like, puzzle, like, problem solving, critical thinking skills. So I think that's really cool. And we've talked about this before, how Nintendo, I think, is doing a good job of, like, actually getting people interested in playing video games with Princess Peach Showtime. And is this a remake of the 3DS game, or is it a, like, sequel to the 3DS game?
I am not sure, because I knew that there was at least one other game and a Detective Pikachu movie.
Yes.
But I am not sure how any of them connect.
Well, when you were describing the thing, when you were describing the kind of story, it sounded a lot like the Detective Pikachu movie, and I was like, okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the Detective Pikachu movie.
See, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's pretty good.
I want to, and it's one of those things where actually we, my wife and I usually, unless we know we can trust it, we watch something before we let our kids watch it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just haven't got around to watching it yet so that my kids can watch it.
Yeah.
But it's on the ever-growing backlog.
It's a solid movie. I as someone who doesn't really like Pokemon, by the way, since we're talking about Pokemon,
here we go.
Is it Pokemon or Pokemon?
Well,
yes.
My answer is yes.
Okay.
If you say it in front of my son, he will say it's Pokemon, not Pokemon.
Yeah, English speakers got to put a schwa in there.
He has an opinion. I don't have much of an opinion.
Well, I mean, I had this conversation with my daughter. I was like, they're Pokemon and it's a Pokeball. Like, it's two different things. Like, it's a Pokeball, but they're Pokemon.
Yeah.
See, I had when I was a kid and me and some of my cousins were into it, one of my uncles would call it Pokemon. And so that always made me laugh.
That's just a good older person gag.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I do that
funny.
sometimes.
That's really funny.
But yeah,
well, look, the song goes Pokemon, right? In the theme song for the show. Pokemon.
Yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all. In the Pokeball.
Okay, that's different than a Pokeball.
Which is different than a Pokeball. And here we are back at food.
And we made it back to food. Every time.
Oh, goodness. So, anyway, Detective
So I don't know
Pikachu.
how it connects to the rest of the movie and the other game, but...
Let's see. We'll get our research department.
Yeah, the research department can figure that out.
Let's see.
But he likes it a lot, and like I said, one thing that I have not watched him play it hardly at all. In fact, at least twice he's been playing it while I've been playing Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
So that's partially why I haven't seen much of it. But I have seen him play a little bit of it, and I'm enjoying seeing him think through some stuff, and just that learning, watching him learn and think through the puzzles and some of the clues is really cool.
That is awesome. That's very cool. Very cool. Our research department did get on it, and they are very quick today and very awesome.
They are.
Thank you to our research team and research department for their hard work.
Give interns some raises.
Yep. You can't raise the fee on an unpaid internship, unfortunately.
Nope, that's true.
I'll double your salary. Still $0.
Triple if you do a good job.
Anyway, so according to our research department, the Switch is a sequel. The Switch game is Detective Pikachu Returns. Is a sequel to Detective Pikachu.
Nice.
And that was announced the same year that the movie came out, and it took 4 years for that game to come out. So,
there you go. Smart branding.
That's pretty par for the course for Nintendo to announce a game and then not come out with it for 7 years.
We didn't have a Metroid game just do that, did we?
Gosh.
I was so disappointed that I wasn't here
I was too.
for that episode.
I know.
Because we joked about it so many times.
I know. It was, they finally announced it. Gosh, I can't wait for next year.
Am I right in thinking that Ryan Reynolds voices Pikachu? In the movie?
You are correct.
You are correct, yes.
I don't know why I knew that, but
And he does a good job.
Ryan
too.
Reynolds does a great job.
I mean, he usually does, right? Like,
so here's the thing with Ryan Reynolds in Detective Pikachu. Just think of Deadpool, but family friendly.
as Pikachu.
That is 100%. Like, that is exactly what he played.
Accurate. Now I'm so angry at you.
Like, Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu is just Deadpool, but he's family friendly.
More often than not, he does a good job.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, I like Ryan Reynolds. I even like Ryan Reynolds in Green Lantern, but that's neither here nor there.
would you have liked Green Lantern if Ryan Reynolds was not in it?
Probably not.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And I honestly, I can't say, I probably shouldn't have said that because I can't remember the last time I actually watched that movie. I own it. I bought it for like $7.50, but I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking it was good.
There you go.
And then like everyone else was like, this movie is terrible. And I was like, oh.
What's wrong with me? Why do I think
Okay.
it's good?
Okay. Maybe I should watch it again. And I never did. So, anyway, anything else from Detective Pikachu?
That's all I got.
So we've got.
It's even better that we got it from the library, so we didn't pay for it.
Yeah, right.
That makes it.
That's all the better for sure.
Your tax dollars at work.
Yes.
Your
That's
tax
true.
dollars.
I guess I did pay for it in a very roundabout way.
Wait a second. Is this show sponsored by the government?
Gosh, I hope so.
Oh my gosh. We're being subsidized, people.
We've made it to the big leagues.
Yes. Oh, yes. This feels so good. I understand now. Okay.
I said we would not get political on this
Not
show.
digressing into politics.
Brought to you by your public library.
And viewers like you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. See, our listeners are going to wish that we would have just talked about ice cream instead. This is what we get.
Man, this is a great episode, guys.
It is
I
a
love
great
it.
episode.
It's amazing.
Is this one going to be better than the Halloween episode? Or is that still going to be our best one?
No, it's not the Halloween episode. The Halloween episode was the Reese's orange is a registered trademark.
Yeah. Am I thinking of the wrong
No,
one?
you're thinking of hashtag sponsors.
Oh, that's right.
That episode just completely digressed into
To unhinged glory.
Yeah, no, it was complete. That episode was completely unhinged. We were way too tired when we recorded that episode.
great
I don't
episode.
even know. I think that was back when we were we were playing trying to review 4 games.
Yeah, that was
in a
ridiculous.
session. So we were it was nuts. A little bit of behind the scenes stuff there. Anyway, back to video games and no more laughing and uncontrollably and digressions.
Oh, Josh, don't make promises you can't keep.
Daniel, what?
What
have you got for
before
us?
we get too far into this, Ryan, how far exactly are you in Fire Emblem Engage?
Let's see. I always look at the the little timestamp when I save the game, and I want to say it's around 10 or 12 hours, maybe.
Okay.
So, because you talked about that last time, didn't you?
I did. I did do that last time. So interestingly enough, Ryan and I have the only 2 copies our library has.
That actually answers a question that I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, did you return it, and is that how I got it, or do you still have yours?
I've still got it.
All right, well, we've got the only
Nice.
2 copies. There you
You got
go.
the only 2 copies.
Nice. There are 2 copies at our library. Again, we are sponsored.
You're sponsored.
by the government. Nice.
So I'm not going to spoil any of it because You know what? It's a fun game. I've enjoyed it. I'm just about finished with the main story. I think what I wanted to talk about with it, because I did touch it a little bit on some things with previous episodes that I had thoughts on. I was really interested in the differences in the extra credit material between Three Houses and Engage.
Yeah.
And I found the, like, for background reference on this, Fire Emblem Three Houses is affectionately called Fire Emblem Hogwarts because
that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
I think I've also made the claim on this podcast. It's also a dating sim, and I'm not wrong.
You did, and I asked you, and you explained it, and I can't debate it. You're right about that one as well.
But in addition to the normal, like, turn-based strategy that we keep coming back for year after year with Fire Emblem games, it had a very engaging, side deal with the school and with teaching and forming relationships with and between your students so that everybody likes each other more and does better in battle. It was great. I have felt almost no compulsion to do that in Fire Emblem Engage.
100% agree.
And it's weird. It's like that part of the game was an afterthought.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting because by and large, like, Fire Emblem Engage, I think, is objectively a worse game than Three Houses, but it is really fun to play.
Yeah,
but then
I agree with that too.
I get to the details, and I'm like, I don't really want to hand a pretty pebble to any of my
of
my soldiers.
I just want to do the next battle.
And yeah, I mean, we in previous episodes I touched a little bit on how to play a single player strategy game with children. That's been a fun experience. But by and large, I think the juxtaposition of Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Engage is very interesting because it's got a lot of really cool points, but the story is just not as complicated as Three Houses. The gameplay is not as complicated as Three Houses. The whole gimmick to Fire Emblem Engage, without spoiling a bit of things, is you get overpowered for a little bit, and that's the fun of it. You get three turns of turbo.
Yeah.
And
use the ring, be overpowered. That's
wasn't there a book that went along those lines? No.
There might have been something, some story that had to do with that, but I don't know.
But yeah, I've spent a lot of time with strategy games in the past 2 months, so for a gamer that has no time to game, I found some time.
I agree with you. Because the little unless there's other side content that I haven't gotten to yet, the two things that I am aware of are the time around your base and then the skirmishes, and I'm just not interested in either one.
Completely ignored the skirmishes the entire game, and I've done a little bit in the base, a little bit of weapons upgrading, a little bit of I've bought items and I've bought weapons, and I've done the forged weapon bit, but completely uncompelling for that part of the game.
I did a couple skirmishes because I thought that it would somehow tie in, or I thought what I was doing is pushing back the evil army.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realized that
they just randomly spawn.
After every chapter they just spawn again. It's all right, well, never mind. This is pointless.
Oh, I will say, I don't know how much of this you've seen yet. I don't really think this is much of a spoiler. The paralogs in the story have been a lot of fun. And the reason being is I've been a longtime fan of the series. So in these paralogs, you are revisiting pivotal battles from previous games. And it's a really... So this game kind of reminds me of Disney's Wish, in that the whole thing ends up being a huge tribute, and there's not a whole lot to it besides the fan service. And that's been really interesting to watch how some of these games have progressed, because just the style of level design or the number of units you have to fight, radically different in previous generations of Fire Emblem versus today. So that was very interesting to me. There were a couple of them I was like, why did you do this, Nintendo? This is evil. Like, this is so hard. Looking at you NES Fire Emblem games, like, good freaking grief.
I hope that I get through it, but I when I was traveling in Africa, I took it with me. That's why I got it from the library.
Right.
I was like, oh, I'll play this on my Switch. Great. And I was progressing through. It was going great. And then I got home and I had that Baldur's Gate waiting on me, and I was like, well, sorry, Fire Emblem.
Honestly, I don't blame you. At the end of the day, I give this game a solid B+. It's fun to play.
There you go.
It is not a great game, but after I'd return it to the library, I would have like serious thoughts about either buying the DLC for it before returning it to the library and just going through that, or just picking up a copy. Like, it's something I'd like to have, but not something I'm like, yeah, I'd stand in the line of the cold wait for this to be released.
Right. Fair enough.
I'm sorry, are we done talking about RPGs?
Not till we get you to play one.
Oh, okay.
We will stop talking about them as soon as you play one, Josh.
I just took a nap there for a second. So anyway, so there's a difference between like one RPG and another. They're not all like just the same. Is that what I'm hearing you tell? That's what I'm hearing you say?
Josh, you can't say that on air.
Sorry.
Are you telling me there's a difference between one Mario game and another?
No, I'm not. I'm like that. It's a formula. It works. It's great. You jump on the Goomba's head. The Goomba dies every single time. That's how it works. Actually, I take it back. There is a difference between one Mario game and another. You want to know what it is? Sometimes
you get to throw your hat at people.
No, sometimes it's an RPG.
That's true. And they're really good, and you should play them.
Sorry. I'll stop.
I never did pick up that pre-order.
Did you?
Daniel pre-ordered
Did you
Paper
pay
Mario.
Mostly, yeah. I got store credit.
I'm just going and say I have a pre-order pickup for Daniel.
I mean, they would have given it to me. They had a copy, and I'm like, you know what? At this point, no.
I'm not gonna get Paper Mario. Anyway. So some interesting differences anyway between the last two Fire Emblem games, or last two major ones, right? Because there were some smaller ones in between.
Three Houses Warriors.
There was Warriors in between,
like the hack and slash,
like
Dynasty Warriors
Dynasty
type.
Warriors
pretty much
type.
Dynasty Warriors with Fire Emblem.
What they did with Zelda with Hyrule Warriors. Which, by the way,
mixed feelings about.
I love Hyrule Warriors.
All of those games.
Hyrule Warriors is amazing.
You know what's funny? I had a lot of fun with Fire Emblem Warriors. So.
Yeah. What's not to love?
We'll get him.
What's not to love? Anyway, so yeah, I think that anything else, gentlemen? Are we good?
Not to play another game.
When I was listening to the episodes that I missed, I heard something that I thought surely you guys would make a joke on. So you're talking about the new the Zelda game.
Yes,
where you get to play as
Zelda.
As
Echo
Zelda. And neither one of you took the opportunity to make the joke that you always play as Zelda in Zelda games.
Excuse me, princess.
I just when you guys were talking about it, I thought surely the joke is coming.
No, it didn't cross my mind.
I didn't even think to.
That
is such unholy ground for me.
I'm with Daniel. That is such a faux pas. Like, it's like, no, I will not. I will refuse to confuse Link with Zelda.
If you don't know what we're talking about, there are what should we call them? Casual gamers or maybe non-Zelda gamers.
Yeah, basically not people who only play who call themselves gamers who have only ever played Halo and Call of Duty.
Who think that
they played Link and Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah. That they think that the character that you the male character that you control in every Zelda game is Zelda, when actually his name is Link, and Zelda is the princess you're trying to rescue.
And technically speaking, up until recently, his name was whatever you named him.
Well, there's also that.
I mean,
Fair.
technically speaking, the official name was Link, but and that was only it had to be the case in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Before that, you had files that you could save, and you could make whatever name you wanted.
And if you named your character Zelda, you actually got some bonuses sometimes.
In the original Zelda, if you named your file Zelda, it unlocked the Master Quest, which made everything harder. Which is one of the reasons why the first time I played the original Zelda, it was incredibly hard, and I was like, "What is happening?"
The first time, wow.
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I had already played like Ocarina of Time, so it was like one of those things where I'd already had another introduction to Zelda. It was me going backwards and playing the original. I've never actually beaten the original Zelda, so shame on me, but
it's an NES game. It's hard.
It is very hard.
It is
Anyway.
hard. I've never beaten it. My dad has.
Go Ryan's dad.
He's not a gamer. He used to play exactly 3 games when we were kids. He used to play exactly 3 games: Zelda, Tecmo Bowl,
yes,
and Mario Kart. Those are the only 3 games I've ever seen my dad play.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
that's great. My dad has never touched a video game, so like
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be very confusing for him.
it's the only ones he has ever played in his whole life.
Well, anyway, I think that's gonna about wrap us up for this
Yep.
episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Want to thank you for listening, and if you liked this episode or liked any of our other episodes, if you laughed at all in this episode, you know what you ought to do?
Sponsor us?
All the things. You should do all the things. The government already sponsors us. We're good. No, that's not true. We need sponsorships, please. Gosh. Before I digress any further, that'll do it for this episode. If you liked it, do all the things. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you.
Talk to your friends. Yeah.
Talk to your friends. Yes, and if you want a sticker, let me know. I'll send you one. And that's gonna do it. Thanks so much. We will catch you on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.
Bye.